Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Lydia Odijochi. This broadcast is being streamed live on our website nta.ng/live and other social media handles displayed on your screen. Let's begin with Federal Executive Council meeting. Biovaccine Nigeria Limited is to collaborate with Serum Institute of India, the world's largest manufacturer of vaccines, in the establishment of vaccine manufacturing plant in Ota, Ogun State. When operational, the joint venture company is to supply 15% of the vaccines normally supplied by UNICEF to Nigeria. Minister of Health Dr. Osage Hanire told journalists that the approval was granted by the Federal Executive Council at its hybrid meeting this Wednesday. We'll bring you details subsequently. The Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Mohammed Nami, has described the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme as one of the greatest innovations of the federal government in its resolve to tackle Nigeria's infrastructure deficit. A statement by Special Assistant to the Executive Chairman, FIRS, Johannes Oluwatobi Wojuola, indicates that the scheme, which provides for public-private partnership intervention in the construction, refurbishment and maintenance of critical road infrastructure in the country, with participants being entitled to tax credits against their future company's income tax, was the subject of debate at the Senate stakeholder and public hearing on the 2023 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Paper. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Hajia Zainab Ahmed, explained further that the tax credit was only provided to the beneficiaries after completion of the construction work and not before. Meanwhile, Mohammed Nami noted that a major cause of tax revenue losses for the country is fragmented tax systems and agencies, while the Senate Finance Committee, led by Senator Solomon Adeola, charged the federal government through the Ministry of Finance and members of the government's economic team to explore novel strategies that would shore up revenue for the federal government, including restructuring the remitting formula for government-owned enterprises. The committee further urged the federal government to apply the same logic to the running of government-owned universities by providing funding for only research and infrastructure needs through the education tax already being administered by the FIRS, while allowing the vice chancellors to use the revenue from school fees and other innovative revenue sources to run the universities. And now to politics. Infighting within political parties has become a common narrative in Nigeria's political system, causing malcontent among party members. How can the parties put their houses in order before the general elections coming up in the next 5 months? These are the talking points for political actors who were guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Ekene Ndulue reports.
Defections, suspensions of party members, court cases, mudslinging. These are some of the crises rocking most political parties in Nigeria, especially during build-ups to major elections. Political parties are a reflection of the society, says the spokesperson of the PDP presidential candidate, and as such, conflicts are to be expected. For him, resolving these crises is, however, why several organs exist within the party. Adebayo Shitu of the APC holds a different opinion, as he believes all is well within his political party.
But even in the midst of such codification of how individuals are to act or how they are to relate, you still see people going against those rules. And when that happens, you now have some form of mechanism. In the case of political parties, you have different organs that gets involved in resolving those crises.
Happily, we don't have that within APC. We don't have it. There's nobody tearing APC apart. We had a very successful, free, fair, and acceptable, national convention.
Is the presidential system of government a recipe for wranglings within political parties? This seems to be the conviction of another PDP stalwart, Dr. Baraka Sani.
Party supremacy is weakened by the presidential system of government because of the aspect of the rule of law, freedom, the equality before the law. So anybody can take the party up to the Supreme Court and they can defy the party and nothing happens. We need to restore party discipline.
The clock is ticking and only time will tell how the parties will rise above the wranglings ahead of the general elections. Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress APC says it is working on uniting all aggrieved members of the party in the build-up to 2023 general elections so as to ensure victory of the party at the polls. National Vice Chairman North Central Zone of the party, Muazu Mohammed Bawa, stated this in Lafia during a reconciliatory meeting with stakeholders of the party. Aliu Tijani reports.
5 months to 2023 general elections in Nigeria, and the All Progressives Congress APC says it is leaving nothing to chance in reconciling party members aggrieved with the outcome of primaries so as to go into the elections as a united family. APC National Vice Chairman North Central Zone, Muazu Mohammed Bawa, is reaching out to aggrieved party members in his zone.
Is to interact. Hear from you people, what are we doing and what do we need to improve upon? If there are areas that we need to improve upon, please, we want to hear them.
While in Natural State, he meets Governor Abdullahi Sule and also engages party stakeholders on the need to put the interest of the party above self, as he emphasized that the party cannot go into next year election with divided interests.
But one thing that I want you to do is to use the opportunity now that you are meeting all these people here, to discuss with them so they will know the reality.
Although Governor Abdullahi Sule earlier set up reconciliatory committee, which has already submitted its report, outcome of the meeting is expected to address issues raised by aggrieved party members before the 2023 general elections. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
The target of the 2023 election is to produce quality women representation at all levels. Hence, the concerted efforts to rally round their ambition. Stakeholders at a strategic meeting acknowledged the role of All Progressives Congress aimed at encouraging women participation in the pre-election processes. Sally Ugwanara reports.
Even though women's participation in Nigeria's political space is decreasing, stakeholders here say these should not be allowed to discourage their participation in politics. Instead, it should be seen as a challenge to motivate the women to be outstanding when given opportunity to serve. This forum provides opportunity for women politicians of APC extraction to share experiences.
And there are a lot of women doing a lot of things and doing very well in politics now. And I believe that, if we have the opportunity to mentor some of them, we'll do that. We are there to advise them, we are there to work with them, and to hold their hands also and make sure that they succeed.
Here, when preparedness meets opportunity, you hear people saying that there is result. It's that preparedness we're working on right now. And as we build the capacity of APC female candidates to walk into the election, we are dead sure that we are coming out victorious.
So I'm very happy for this workshop because it's been very helpful to help us as candidates to know where we have loopholes we can fill and where we can do better.
We all know that 35% affirmative action has not been fully implemented. And with people like us in office, we believe that we can uplift other younger women.
It was a collective decision here that women have much more to offer in Nigeria's democratic processes. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
5 months to 2023 elections, the African Democratic Congress ADC has presented certificate of return to more than 450 candidates of the party contesting in the National Assembly elections next year. While some are contesting senatorial election, others are for House of Representatives. National Chairman of the party, Ralph Nwosu, expresses satisfaction over the turnout of candidates to fly the party's flag and says the party is optimistic of victory at the polls.
A passing phase. We have evolved to become one of the leading parties in Nigeria. It took very hard work in those parties. But God will give us the grace to overcome this. But I can assure all of us, it's better that we deal with the monster at this time. We still have 5 months to the election. We must deal with whatever monster that has come to disturb us this time. And the moment we do it, people who are running for national offices, for state offices, will still have up to 5 months.
We are well prepared. ADC is well prepared for the elections in 2023. The fact that there is 1 or 2 misunderstandings and there does not reduce being prepared.
ADC Chairman, Board of Trustees Dr. Manir Ahmed, who presented the certificates to the candidates, urges them to mobilize grassroots support for the party. Away from politics now. Pro and Vice Chancellors of federal universities are meeting with the leadership of the striking lecturers in a closed-door meeting at the Secretariat of the Committee of Vice Chancellors, CVC. The meeting is part of interventions by the CVC to resolve the lingering ASU strike. Previous meetings between the parties, even with interventions from the outside, could not convince the university lecturers to shift ground and return to work. Minister of Education had last week convened a meeting of the Vice Chancellors and Chairmen of their governing councils as yet another effort to resolve the impasse. A sustainable roadmap to address out-of-school children among Fulani nomads is being developed. This is in response to the United Nations Education Fund records, which shows that out of 18.5 million children who are not in school in the country, 3.5 are children of Fulani nomads. Amina Saidu reports that critical stakeholders in nomadic education are looking at factors responsible for this drawback.
Fulani nomads are among Nigerians struggling with challenges of life. This is attributed to their nature, which makes it difficult for their children to have access to formal education. Figures released by the United Nations Children's Fund are alarming, which is as a result of resurgence of crimes in the Northwest and North Central.
These security challenges is impeding participation of these children in normal school activities. So we want to sensitize these SBMC members. We want to train them on strategies, how they can pull those children that are already out of school so that they will return to school and be part of the process.
Reversing this unpleasant development is the goal of participants at a workshop put together by the National Commission for Nomadic Education.
We have a large numbers of our nomadic children in nomadic communities that are out of schools. So we want to reduce it drastically.
The engagement is to allow the flow of ideas to achieve a permanent and sustainable solution, which will allow children go back to school.
This, if we can get it, definitely we are going to control a lot of things when it comes to out-of-school children and other critical issues that affects nomadic education.
The expectation at this workshop is high, as enrollment in nomadic schools in the country will increase. In Kaduna, Amina Saidu, NTA News.
The Ministry of Aviation has attributed the current protests by unions in the sector to the failure to Section 65 of 2006 Civil Aviation Act, which categorized aviation services as essential. The Aviation Minister, however, noted that the strike is unnecessary as it contravenes Section 11, subsection 1 of the Civil Aviation Act of 2006 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which prevents essential services workers from strike. It explained that all services which facilitate and maintain the smooth, orderly and safe takeoff, flight and handling of aircraft, disembarkation and evacuation of passengers and cargo, respectively, in all aerodromes in Nigeria are designated as essential services. However, the unions are accusing the authorities of surreptitiously inserting this in the new Civil Aviation Act, but it has always been there, except that the authorities only refuse to implement in the spirit of industrial harmony. Still on to Nationwide. Hingino has the next set of reports from Lagos. Hello, Hingino.
Lydia. Wives of members of Course 39 Nigerian Defense Academy have presented medical equipment to the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital in Lagos in a bid to contribute towards advancing the health care sector. Lynn Leneke reports that the gesture, replicated in Kaduna, is part of activities to mark their spouse's 35th anniversary in military service.
As officers of the 39th Regular Course celebrate 35th anniversary in service, their wives also joined in the celebration by extending hands of fellowship to the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital, Ojo, where they presented 2 state-of-the-art medical equipment capable of reducing man-hour and meeting the needs of officers, personnel, and residents of the host community. The team leader, wife of the General Officer commanding 81 Division, Dr. Ada Ajunwa, said the provision of this medical equipment is hinged on the military's engagement in the various theaters of war and the priority placed on the medical care of personnel.
In Nigeria, healthcare is one of the pain points that we have. We thought about it, our husbands thought about it and decided that it would be the best to need medical equipment. It's not just here. We also have medical equipment donated at Kaduna as well.
With this gesture, the leadership of the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital, Ojo, is optimistic that the management of the increased number of pregnant women and bipolar issues will be handled seamlessly.
The Adamawa machine, which is going to help us to minimize blood loss during surgery. So it's going to go a long way to shorten the operation time, reduce the quantity of blood we are going to lose, and reduce the need for blood transfusion intraoperatively.
The 150-bedded hospital boasts of adequate medical equipment and medical personnel that can cater to the healthcare needs of officers, personnel, and residents of the host community and environs. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
Flood control and management has been a source of concern to authorities and residents over the years. As the rains intensify, fears of flash floods are growing. Key players say negative attitude of people towards waste disposal and building on waterways must be addressed to avoid flooding. Abolade Salami reports.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency weather prediction on the changing raining pattern has identified Lagos as one of the states to experience flash floods with disastrous effects. To this end, those living along river banks such as Ojegule, Isheri North, Owode, Iwaya, Makoko and Shibiri have been cautioned to be at alert and adhere strictly to the warnings.
Lagos as a state and as a city can only be involved in working towards these goals if Lagos does so from the understanding of its peculiarity as a low-lying littoral body.
Simon, an undergraduate of psychology, lives in one of such areas. He narrates his ordeal and several steps taken by residents to reduce the damaging effect of rains on lives and property.
When it rains, we look for another way to go wherever we want to go to. That's how we survive around it.
While the issue of flood is not only synonymous with riverbank areas in the state, some parts of Victoria Island and Lekki are usually flooded most times it rains, leaving residents with tale of woe.
Everywhere, even in my shop here, water was there, and nobody can enter and come and eat. I have to lock the place and go.
This form of natural disaster, environmentalists say,
can be minimized if Lagosians change their attitude to waste disposal and general environmental hygiene.
Lagos is a city with over 20 million population and generating excess of 13,000 metric tons of waste daily. The attitude of our people can actually help us stop indiscriminate dumping of refuse in every nook and cranny of the state.
As emergency responders continue to render assistance when the need arises, Lagosians residing in flood-prone areas have been admonished to always comply with safety measures during the rainy season. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Port Harcourt is our next stop on Nationwide after this break. And do not forget that you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates.
Oh boy, this one where your eye red. You carry machete, you see carry gun. Wetin you want take am do sef?
After the para like this, I don't vex.
Oh boy, calm down down now.
Like this, see like this, I dey go scatter those businesses. You know say they take scatter our people businesses, You don't see see, I dey go there, as I dey go like, I dey go show them better craze. They never see anything.
If you destroy their own for here and they destroy your people own for that side, especially that your brother where they send you money, that way don't block oh. How you go take survive?
See, this way talk not true, but I still dey vex.
Boy, calm down. Make we embrace peace. We peace and unity. Everybody
my people, make we gum body with peace and unity. Make we learn to live as brothers and sisters so that we country go fit move go permanent sides. This message now from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Now, what would make someone set out on a journey and not get to his or her destination? Now, imagine the victim who cannot reach out to these responders, who doesn't even have the phone to reach out. Hello, thank you very much for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Agwe.
The girl, especially if the girl is a minor, she's not yet 18 years. If she gets pregnant, realize that such girl is sent out of school and the boy is left in school.
Just to pick the call.
So how much sensitization is the FRS?
I don't agree. A lot of people are just deaf.
Says that the Buhari-led administration has made remarkable progress.
Like Lafia Transmission Station nearing completion.
Africa does not need charity, but partnerships that will promote the adequate investment.
With the cooperation of all.
Sharing firsthand the experiences of reporters on the field as they bring to you weekly the beauty of Nigeria's diverse culture and the economic potentials therein. The Correspondents, development through the eye of the grassroots, showing every Monday at 1:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA, with a repeat broadcast on NTA News 24 and NTA International. Join us.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Motorists are lamenting the resurgence of fuel queues due to scarcity of petroleum products in Port Harcourt. Yanukumo Lolo, who monitored the situation, observed that only few petroleum products sold the product at the pump price of 180 naira per litre in Port Harcourt City.
The scarcity of premium motor spirit in the metropolis is a worrisome situation. Motorists are spending hours on queues at filling stations just to be able to get some of the products. Major marketers like NNPC stations that have the product are selling at 180 per litre regulated price, while independent marketers who claim not to have supplies shut their stations, while a few that have the product are selling at higher prices ranging from 200 to 300 per litre depending on location.
I reside in Enika Axis. If you go to that Axis now, Enika to Tank Road, those fuel stations, they are selling 250 naira per litre.
I've been on this queue for 3 hours. I left the house by 7 o'clock. I'm just able to buy now.
Some motorists lament the ugly situation and urge the government to take urgent measures that will address the problem.
Everybody just they say anyhow where they like. Some they say 200, especially that greater side, Rukboko, 200.
Each time they want to increase fuel, they will create a future scarcity. So it will be scarce and for the price to go up. As soon as the price goes down to 200, you see fuel everywhere. Are we helping ourselves? We're not helping ourselves. Is it from the government? Is it from the NNPC? Or what? We don't know. This particular I'm talking about.
The situation has left some motorists with no option other than to buy from the black market, which goes for about 300 naira per litre, as they could not afford to wait in the long queues. In Port Harcourt, Yanukme Ulolo, NTA News.
Harnessing potential in adolescents to build self-esteem and confidence in handling risky relationships that may expose them to contracting HIV and AIDS was in focus in the Adolescent Kids for Expression competition held in Calabar. Ode Aleyo reports that this was at a symposium put together by National Action for the Control of AIDS, NACA.
The HIV/AIDS Adolescent Talk Show is to create awareness on possible ways of avoiding contracting HIV/AIDS through unhealthy relationship by adolescents. The coordinator of the program highlighted the need to groom adolescents to form better opinion while dealing with peers' influence, as well as encouraging them to discover talent through creativity.
It helps us shape the ideas and the behaviors of adolescents to prevent them from engaging in risky sexual practices, basically.
The sole aim is to, give the adolescents a platform to, showcase some of their competencies. That they were doing amazing stuff, communicating through drama, arts, and crafts, which the Adolescent Kit is all about.
Participants bear their minds on the benefits of the HIV/AIDS Enlightenment Talk Show.
Before, I could not express myself like this in public, but with Adult Kid now, I'm able to express myself.
The Adolescent Kids for Expression and Innovation competition featured drama presentation, debates, arts, and craft. In Calabar, Ode Alenyo, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Jenny. At COP27 in Egypt, African and least developed countries will make a case for the world's largest carbon emitters to take responsibility in solving the climate crisis through improved finance and technical support to those most impacted by climate shocks. It is a unified front promoted at a meeting of ministers from least developed countries in Dakar, Senegal. Onenye Fineface reports.
When you go to the bank to access loan, you are made to fill some forms, go through some technicalities before the funds are made available to you. Climate financing for countries on the African continent and other least developed countries is similar. The technicalities are cumbersome, and going to COP27, this meeting of ministers from the least developed countries is making a case for the processes to be made less cumbersome for countries that need them.
The financial mechanism institutions, I'm talking about the Green Climate Fund, the Global Environment Facility, the Adaptation Fund, and many other partners are strongly behind support to the LDCs.
Unless there are immediate, strong, rapid, large-scale reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, limiting global warming to 1.5 will be beyond reach.
In addition, the ministers and stakeholders at this conference expect that African leaders and leaders from the least developed world will build more serious commitment, show political will to promote and sustain all programs and projects geared towards solving the problem of climate change in their various domains.
The new objective should reflect a balanced allocation between mitigation, adaptation, and losses and damages, with a specific attention for the most vulnerable and poor countries.
It is important that we urge developed countries, particularly the G20, to take leadership and remain committed to 45% emissions reductions by 2030.
They expect that those that are responsible for the emissions will also take up the responsibility to provide the needed funds to build the capacity of African countries and least developed countries to adapt to climate shocks and impacts. From Dakar, Senegal, Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
The federal government has distributed more relief materials to no fewer than 400 internally displaced households and their host communities in Zamfara State. Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, flagged off the distribution of items along with a free medical outreach for the IDPs in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
Unguwar Dambaba Tsunami is a popular community situated at the outskirts of Gusau, which accommodates a large number of the internally displaced persons from across Zamfara State and beyond. This is the latest package of relief materials comprising food and non-food items delivered to the IDPs and their host communities by the federal government through the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, who launched the distribution of the items to no fewer than 400 households, says more of such assistance is in the offing, and the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari remains committed to improving the well-being of the IDPs and other vulnerable groups across the country.
This is a message from President Muhammadu Buhari. He directed me to come and present the relief materials to you. I implore you to make judicious utilization of the items and to avoid the temptation of selling them out.
The distribution of the relief materials goes simultaneously with a free medical outreach, including eye surgery for at least 1,000 patients, even as the federal government has renovated and equipped a community clinic in the area.
We thank God and appreciate the federal government for its concern to the plight of the IDPs and other less privileged. This intervention would not have come at a better time.
We are most grateful. May Almighty Allah reward them abundantly.
The minister has also inaugurated a renovated and equipped library for children of the IDPs and their host community under the program tagged Project Educate All. She expressed confidence that the library will boost the morale of the pupils and improve their academic performance. Meanwhile, the event was used to electronically capture data of the IDPs for effective planning. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Being one of the states in the country predicted to experience flooding this season, the Adamawa state government has put in more measures to minimize losses through campaigns, especially at flood-prone areas. Afiniki Emmanuel reports that many areas in Jimeta, Yola, and other local governments were already affected, hence the campaign by the state government.
Residents of Yola, the Adamawa state capital, woke up to the early morning rainfall with its devastating effect. The affected areas include Yoldepati Sabon Pegi, Teshansani, and Yibango Army Barracks Road, among others, with houses and farmlands submerged. Wilberforce Anazikuri, a resident of Yibango, one of the affected persons, recounting his ordeal as the road leading to his house was flooded.
There's no way to pass. If two friends might pass, I climb ladder before I drop. There is no way at all. If you enter a house now, all the place inside the room after this occupied with the waters.
We don't have anything now.
We were affected so much.
I lost most of my valuables.
It's look for a government to come for rescue.
The Executive Secretary, Adamawa State Emergency Management Agency, ATEMA, Aminu Suleiman says relief materials will soon be disposed to the affected communities to cushion the effects of the disaster.
Those that have been affected will kindly respond to the request of the government and allow themselves to be evacuated to a safer place.
In Yola, Afiniki Emmanuel, NTA News.
Asma'u is next in line as she brings us the latest from our Sokoto Network Center. Hello, Asma'u. You're on.
Lydia, good evening and welcome to Sokoto. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has distributed relief materials comprising care and maintenance items to about 500 displaced persons in Sokoto State. This is part of federal government's extension of Project Zero Hunger Initiative. Sheikh Mohammed Detti reports.
There are currently about 4.1 million internally displaced persons in Nigeria who are victims of both man-made and natural disasters. The Federal Commissioner of the Commission, Hajia Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, who flagged off the distribution of the items in Sokoto, said the purpose of the distribution is to alleviate the suffering of the persons of concerned. Represented by Deputy Director Procurement, Fumila Yobara, noted that the initiative is to address the nutritional needs and provide durable, sustainable solutions to IDPs. She said the federal government has demonstrated high level of commitment to the welfare of displaced persons in the country.
This is just to succor them. We are still coming back with food, non-food item and empowerment items before the year runs out.
The Director General Sokoto Emergency Management Agency, Alhaji Nasiru Aliyu, commended the federal government for bringing succor to IDPs in Sokoto State, adding that the state is facing increased numbers of IDPs due to insecurity, assured of judicious distribution of the items. Some stakeholders thanked the Commission for the intervention. The internally displaced persons are from Sabon Birni, Raba, Shinkafi, among others. In Sokoto, Show Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Zamfara State government has completed the construction of 143 out of 147 primary health care centers across the state. The state deputy governor Hassan Muhammad Nasiha announced this while inaugurating one of the newly constructed health facility at Sawangida village in Bungudu local government area of the state. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
Zamfara State government has within the past 3 years embarked on the construction of one primary health center in each of the 147 political wards across the 40 local government areas of the state. This event is the formal inauguration of the newly constructed PHC at Sabangida village in Patarkush ward of Bungudu local government area. Zamfara State Deputy Governor Senator Hassan Muhammad Nasiha says the ceremony marks the completion of 143 out of the total 147 primary health centers constructed across the state, and they are handing over to the State Primary Health Care Development Agency. Senator Nasiha says the 43 PHCs were fully equipped to provide health care services at the grassroots, even as he directed the State Primary Health Care Board to ensure full utilization of the facilities for the benefit of all residents.
Of the National Health Care Policy of building at least one primary health center per ward.
Executive Secretary Zamfara State Primary Health Care Development Board, Dr. Tukur Ismail, says adequate arrangement has been made to ensure effective operation of the health facilities.
We have existing synergy with other NTA to deliver health care services in the states.
There were goodwill messages from various stakeholders who all appreciated the initiative, expressing optimism that it will go a long way in reducing infants and maternal mortality rates in the state. Meanwhile, Zamfara State government has distributed a fully equipped tri-school ambulance to each of the newly constructed primary health centers to facilitate quick emergency response. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and all other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. We'll take a short break, and when we return, Nationwide continues in our Maiduguri Center.
The management and staff of NTA announced the death of our former chairman, board of directors, Chief Durojaye Onabule, the Jagomolu of Ijebuland, who died on the 16th of August, 2022. He was aged 83. Burial arrangements as announced by the family. Wednesday, 14th September 2022. Service of songs and tributes at Shell Hall, Muson Center, Onikon, Lagos. Time, 4:30 p.m. Thursday, 15th September 2022. Christian wake at Grand Inn and Suites Hotel, 3 Gateway Stadium Road, GRA, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. Time, 4:30 p.m. Friday, 16th September 2022. Funeral service at the Cathedral Church of Our Savior, Itaolowa Joda, Ijasi, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. Time, 9:30 a.m. Friday, 16th September 2022. Entertainment of guests at BC Rodipe Hall, GRA, Igbeba Road, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. Announcer Abdulhamid Salihu Dembos, Acting Director General, NTA.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dssPR@dss.
To Maiduguri on Nationwide, worried by the growing environmental concerns as a result of the ravaging flood disaster, Borno State Governor Professor Babaga Tomorrow Market and Bridge.
We apologize for that mix-up from Maiduguri. Let's move on now. We hope to rejoin them. Since radioactive materials cannot be completely avoided in the society, the challenge behoves on how best to manage it, which centers on proper disposal and management of all forms of waste. This forms part of deliberations at the workshop organized by the Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority for stakeholders drawn from oil-producing communities in Akwa Ibom State. Calvin Samuel has details.
The workshop discusses the 2021 survey findings of the intervention reports to stop the spread of waste containing naturally occurring radioactive materials, NAM, as a result of oil and gas exploration in the oil-producing areas of the Niger Delta. For Stella Ojong, other participants and allied agencies. The objectives of the workshop, which includes to build capacity of stakeholders on best ways to monitor non-waste in their environment and develop strategies of environmental safety against harmful effects of ionizing radiation, among others, is commendable.
This workshop will be of immense help to all the participants.
Radioactive waste should not be deposited in water bodies.
Enlighten the publics to make use of the environment sustainably.
When people are aware of a situation, I think we have gone a very high level step in treating that problem.
For the organizers, sensitization on normal materials is one of the core mandates of NNRA.
There are some areas that the background radiations were normal, that's within permissible limits. My advice would be for the federal government to do this more often and also to develop a register.
The Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority was established in accordance with the Nuclear Safety and Radioactive Protection Act 19 of 1995 to ensure nuclear safety, radiological protection and regulation in Nigeria. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Let's rejoin Mohammed once more at Maiduguri for reports. Mohammed?
Thanks, Lydia, for your patience and welcome to Maiduguri. Worried by the growing environmental concerns as a result of the ravaging flood disaster, Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum conducted an on-the-spot assessment of Moromoro Market and Bridge submerged within Maiduguri, the state capital. The governor announced a flood assessment committee led by the Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur has been constituted with a mandate to conduct a statewide appraisal of damage and requirement for victim support. Abubakar Musa reports.
Accompanied by the Flood Control Committee and other officials of government, Professor Babagana Umara assessed the volume of water at Moromoro Market, which has overflowed the bridge. Governor Babagana Umara sympathized with those affected by the flood, saying government is putting in place temporary measures to arrest the situation. He also spoke on challenges associated with blocking of waterways, saying more than 1,000 houses have been built illegally on roads that ought to be water channels and as a result, forcing water to pass through communities, thereby causing destruction.
To the kind notice of the general public that the Deputy Governor of Borno State, His Excellency, will embark on a journey, on a visit to all the affected sites, with the members of the committee with a view to ascertaining the extent of the damage. And inshallah, the government will propose some certain interventions that will be given to the affected victims.
The governor added that after the rainy season, the state government will proffer permanent solution to the menace, including review of the master plan of Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and environs, as well as taking other necessary measures that may require resettling shelters currently located on waterways after due consultations with relevant bodies and stakeholders. He called on the public to cooperate with the authority in its determination to address the challenges of flood and equally enjoined parents and guardians to keep their children away from the riverside. Governor Zulum has been worried by the perennial flooding in some parts of the state, including Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and Jere local governments, hence calling on the citizenry to collaborate with government to bring a permanent solution to the natural disaster. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Musa, NTA News.
In the meantime, Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has inaugurated Government Day Secondary School in Burate community of Biu in southern part of the state, with a commitment to providing all necessary support to reposition the education sector. The inauguration was part of Governor Zulum's engagement in Biu Emirate, where he also undertook other developmental activities. Mohammed Goni reports.
Government Day Secondary School Buratai is one of the 24 mega schools constructed by the present administration in the education sector. Professor Babagana Umara said 20 indigenous teachers were recruited to improve quality education and further charge the teachers to be dedicated to their duties so that quality knowledge is imparted on the students.
Education is the bedrock of any mental development. And that has necessitated the government of Borno and other distinguished leadership to construct many better schools in Borno State.
Governor Zulum also stressed commitment of the state government to continued recruitment of more qualified teachers in an effort to enhance quality of teaching and learning across the state and assure the Emir and people of Biu Emirate that Borno state government under his leadership will continue to provide all the necessary support to the area. Education Commissioner Lan Abawa Kilbe, who highlighted the strides made by Governor Zulum's administration, said the school has 30 classrooms with administrative offices as well as 200 bicycles for the students. Emir of Biu, Mustafa Aliu, thanked Professor Zulum for redeeming pledges made to the people and appreciated him for his commitment to improving the laws of the citizenry. On behalf of the community, Barrister Issa Buratai thanked the governor and appealed for more intervention in Buratai community. Meanwhile, Governor Zulum was also at Miringa Gunda Road, where he assessed collapsed culverts due to heavy downfall and pledged to rehabilitate the 5 broken down culverts after the rainy season, while temporary measures will be put in place to make the road motorable. At Miringa community, Governor Zulum, while addressing the residents who trooped out to welcome him and requested rehabilitation of their health clinic, assured them that assessment work on the clinic will commence before the end of his engagement in the area to pave the way for massive repair work to be carried out on the facility. He also assured to employ indigenous health workers to serve in the clinic. In Biu headquarters of Biu local government, Mohamed Goni, NTA.
Updates from Maiduguri. The rest of Nationwide will continue with Lydia in Abuja.
Thank you, Mohammed. A 24-month inclusive eye health project for persons with disability has ended in Kogi State. Elizabeth Amori reports that the project was supervised by the site savers in 4 local government areas of the state with recommendations for sustenance of the initiative.
A World Bank data on persons living with disabilities show that 15% of the world's population experience some form of disability and likely to experience adverse socio-economic outcomes. These outcomes range from unemployment, lack of access to education and health services. To change the narrative and improve population eye health, informed the Inclusive Eye Project for Persons with Disabilities.
We have taken the United Nations Convention for Rights of Persons with Disability as the platform in designing this program, looking at ensuring that we address the issues of discrimination against persons with disabilities.
We have also supplied bountifully equipment and materials that we can use for this surgery.
Inclusive Eye Health Project has taken that first step for all people, regardless of disability or ability, to be treated with dignity and respect.
Persons with visual impairments in Ida, Ankpa, Okene and Kaba local government areas benefited from the initiative.
Some persons that were supposed to go blind completely, their eyes have been revived.
Replication is expected in other parts of the country to promote the health of persons living with disabilities. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
And now let's take sports update from our sports desk.
All is set for the maiden Chief of Defense Staff National Open Karate Championship in Abuja, September 15 to 17, 2022, with about 300 participants drawn from all states of the Federation, plus the FCT, the military and paramilitary, as well as some agencies gearing for podium finish in various categories.
This will certainly spur athletes for greater heights and in preparation for the African Championship taking place in Durban by November, December.
In football, CAF Organizing Committee member and chairman of Zamfara State Football Association, Ibrahim Guzo, has joined the race for NFF presidency, pledging to stabilize Nigeria football with particular reference to the domestic leagues and financial independence.
For some of us that have been working together with them for a period of time now, they know all our capabilities and they know what we can do. And then by the grace of God, I know they are going to make a wise decision.
Ahead of the NFF Elective Congress in Benin City, Edo State, come September 30, 2022, stakeholders under the auspices